Who'd you trash? I'm guessing Josh Donaldson on
Bingo, yes, sir. Yeah. Josh Donaldson, and we're going to talk about it. Aaron Judge, Chris, I think we talked about this when we talked about Josh Donaldson and the reaction of his teammates towards him. I think that says a lot, don't you think?
Well, yeah, let's hear. Speaking of Aaron Judge, you brought it up. Here he is. Let's hear what he says.
It's a tough one. Joke or not, I just don't think it's, the right thing to do there, especially, given the history, especially the series in Chicago, kind of a little bit of beef between Anderson and JD. And, Anderson's one of the best shortstops in the game and a big part of MLB and, what's going on here, how we can grow the game. And, JD for that 1-game suspension. I don't know. I just don't think it's, JD's, he made a mistake, owned up to it. And, now we got to move on.
Go ahead, Rob.
No, I find that to be interesting that, with teammates in baseball, and I know Josh Donaldson just got to the Yankees, Chris. This is his first year there, but he's been on a lot of teams. He's kind of worn out his welcome at a lot of places, even though he's a really good player. He really is. And it was interesting just to hear Judge, and even Judge talking about Tim Anderson and what a great player he is, and a face of the game, and basically that he thought it wasn't right that Josh went there and given the history. I applaud Aaron Judge for even tackling it. We got ex-players, Chris, who won't even touch this.
I don't know why anybody would be.
I agree. I don't think it's that controversial to just chime in on it. Whether you, your take on it. We're not asking you to bury Josh Donaldson, are we? No.
I think Judge actually, Rob, did a good job of. I think he was honest, and I think he kind of backed up Anderson and that he didn't think it was right, but he kind of did it without throwing his teammate under the bus. He didn't back Josh Donaldson.
No.
But he also didn't bury him.
He didn't bury him at all, but he didn't. Right. And for your teammates, in baseball, Chris, to not have like I said, I'm still waiting for the first person to say, hey, this isn't Josh. You guys don't know him. We know him. You know what I mean? We just haven't seen one of those quotes, have we? Just not one.
I haven't. Now, and speaking of quotes, Tim Anderson spoke today, Rob, because, I said, look, I'm waiting to hear Anderson's comment
to hear more
about
from him,
Jackie. Yeah, because he didn't really address it in full. And today he talked about it. Rob G, I don't think the sound is good. Can you read Anderson's quote about it?
Yeah, unfortunately, he was speaking in a scrum and he had his mouth turned away from the microphone.
So this microphone, so it wasn't good sound.
But here's what he said. He did say that, referencing to Donaldson calling him Jackie, and I told him, we never have to talk again. I don't speak to you. You don't speak to me. If that's how you want to refer to me. I know he knew exactly what he was doing because I had already told him.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Rob. It definitely sounds like Donaldson was just lying, right?
That's what it sounds like.
He made it sound like one of two things. Either we were kind of cool, and we kind of had this jokingly, I call him Jackie
going on,
because that SI article, and, or at the very least, he didn't make it sound like, he certainly didn't make it sound like Anderson had an issue with it.
Right.
Because he actually said, if something's changed, let me know.
But Anderson's saying it was never
you
good.
Were cool
right.
with it. Right. Now, do I know if it was racist connotation? I don't know. The article does give him an out, right? The fact that Anderson referred to himself as Jackie, I think erroneously he shouldn't have even compared himself to Jackie Robinson. Certainly not for making the game fun. But that gives Donaldson an out to say it wasn't race. It was just that he called himself freaking Jackie Robinson. Okay. But what it seems like, Rob, is at the very least, Donaldson's just a jerk. I mean, from Liam Hendriks' comments to, as you said, moving around from team to team. And this, if if you want to get under his skin, oh, what's up, Jackie?
Right. What does that mean, though,
like,
Chris,
now,
other than that you're trying to get under skin?
Right. Which keeping it real, Rob, that's fine.
No, I know, but I'm saying.
If we're opponents and I'm trying to get under your skin, fine.
But don't make
do
it like
in a racist way, but I
Right.
don't know if that, I gotta be honest, I can't say 100% that's racist because you did refer to yourself as Jackie Robinson. And so now I can be, oh yeah, you Jackie Robinson, okay. Or maybe you feel like that makes him uncomfortable because that's so much to live up to or whatever, and it can get under his skin and make him not perform as well. So bottom line is it does sound like Josh Donaldson was lying, and at the very least, he's a jerk. I don't know if he had racist intentions or not.
Yeah, and remember, it was Tony La Russa who brought that up, Chris. And
Right.
that was the strange part.
Well, because when you hear it, Rob, I
Right.
don't know. My guess is La Russa didn't know about the SI. You know what I mean? Don't you think that's the case?
Probably not.
When I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, that's racist!" Like just all out of the blue.
Yeah,
calling Jackie when there aren't that many African Americans in the game anymore.
Where does that come from? Right, and you're trying to make like a joke about something with Jackie. Yeah, it was definitely weird. But again, I always look at reaction from the people closest to you, Chris, like your people who supposedly know you a little bit better.
Right.
And I just don't see any support from any. I really don't. And I think when you bounced around, I don't see anybody stepping up to say, he's a great guy. I don't know where this came from. You know what I mean? Vouch for him.
That's why it seems at the very least he's a jerk. But you're right, even in the fact that no one has said, look, I don't agree with everything Josh does. Okay.
But
Josh has had his issues here and there, but I know he's not a racist. You know what I mean? Like nobody's saying that. So I don't know. It's tough because again, in baseball today, there's long, Rob, now been talk about the dearth of African Americans. And even you can even see that in Judge's comments when he says he's obviously he is a great player and he's one of the faces of baseball. But what else does he say? He's gonna help grow the game.
Right.
He's a key guy in helping grow the game. He's a great African-American player. He's, got some swag about him.
Big time swag. And he's a great player. Chris won a batting title already.
Yep.
He is really one of those guys.
Again. Right. So that is there. And I think that's why it's so sensitive around this situation. But I will say this. I got no problem with an opponent trying to get under a guy's skin.
Oh, yeah. No. There's certain things, but
right.
Exactly. I saw Bob Costas, Chris, on CNN talk about it. And, Bob is very thoughtful and is usually, even keeled and even tempered. And he kind of said what you said about, getting under somebody's skin or saying something, but this just seemed to be off base. The Jackie reference. That was it. Yeah. Not that you can't try to rib a guy. It just seemed a little off center.
Well,
and I
would
think
you
that's
agree
fair.
though? Would you agree? And he may not care one iota about the article. You know what I'm saying? But the article, the fact that he did compare himself to Jackie Robinson, does give Donaldson an out.
I mean, he could go
like if he just pulled it out of the blue and he never had referred to him as Jackie Robinson, and you're calling him Jackie, to me that's definitely racist. Because then it also implies like you one of only a handful of black guys playing this game nowadays.
Right. You just one out there. If you want to call him Jackie.
Right. And so, but the fact that he called himself Jackie does give him an out. And he used it clearly.
Yeah.
And it seems like he went too far with his, explanation with it because obviously Anderson doesn't seem to feel that
right. Doesn't seem, and you got to have two parties to say. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would he react like that, Chris? If he's been doing this for a couple years now, that article came out 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the part. And then I think Liam Hendricks had a great point that if you have a kind of inside joke, usually it's with somebody who's you're cool with, not on the opposing team or some enemy, quote unquote enemy.
Unless
that doesn't sound like
to get under a guy's skin, and there's no
doesn't
rule
sound like an
against
inside.
that.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
I don't know if you saw Doug Glanville, Rob, today. He was on First Take with Stephen A. And he was interested. He clearly thought it was racist. And he said, former MLB player Doug Glanville, he said, it's up to me to determine what you call me. Like if you you can't just call me anything. And I get where he's coming from, but in sport, like if I'm covering a guy on the basketball court and I want to start calling him a name, something that's in bounds, then I feel like you can do that in the spirit of competition. And if he don't like it, so what? Like if I'm calling you, I don't know, whatever. I don't know, just a name. You know what I mean? Like
right, but it has to be. I know what you're saying, but there still has to be. If he's not cool with it, it's not going to fly. And I remember
why? If we're competing, I don't care I'm trying to get under your skin.
Yeah, but Jackie is a sore spot.
Well, but that's where I say the article gives him an out.
Yeah, but I don't think that still gives him where you have to be cool with it to bring up Jackie's name in that light.
You might not be cool with it, but my point is,
I know what you're saying.
Like, I'm trying to get under your skin. I'm trying to throw you off your game.
Right, but I could see where there would be pushback, and that's what Tim Anderson gave him. I think I told you this before with the Tigers when Kirk Gibson, Chris, was a coach on the Tigers. Right. The Hispanic players, the Latin players on the team, his nickname was Two Hit. That's what they called him.
Kirk Gibson, because of his famous couple hits.
Because he had his two big home runs in the World Series.
Right.
So they would be like, whenever he was in some conversation or argument, they would say, "Be quiet, Two Hit." That was his nickname.
Right.
I thought
How did he feel about it?
He liked it. He thought it was funny. You know what I mean? He did have two of the biggest home runs in the World Series. So that's different. You know what I'm saying? That's affectionate.
And I think this too, Rob. I don't think any African American player wants to be pitied and treated like, oh, we gotta treat him with kid gloves and this. You know what I mean? And I don't think Tim Anderson or any player wants that. I'm not going to crack. I'm not going to crumble because somebody calls me a name. I'm just not. All right. And we're stronger than that, And so I think that's something to be aware of